Hi everybody, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I am taking over the Entrepreneur Magazine Facebook page live, and I'm here with master writer, best-selling author, and amazing guy, Seth Godin.
Wow, thanks.
Welcome. Well, I should say thank you for having me to your office.
It's a pleasure. It's about
this?
time.
The crow's nest,
I just called my office.
Okay. I got all this great advice from you and several others. I'm loosely working on this book, over the past couple of years, on this idea, and I'll maybe flesh it out here a little bit. That's called sum total, SUM total.
Nice.
Which is based on the premise that we are a sum total of all the people that we've met and our experiences.
Yes.
And so if that's true for me, I'm going to end up pretty amazing because of all the great people I've been able to, rub against and get some of that fairy dust stuff on me. I've learned some great lessons. My biggest regret is that I didn't meet you sooner, that I didn't take the advice or hear it sooner. Talk to me about some of the advice that you would give to your 20-year-old self if you're 20 years old in 2016, headed into 17.
Okay, well first I'm excited about this book. I haven't read any of it and I can't wait. When is it coming out?
It's a work in progress.
So when is it coming out? Pick a date, any date you want.
It's going to come out this time next year.
Okay, so October 30th, to give you a few extra days, 2017?
Sure.
You're committing to that.
I will commit right here.
Can you thumbs up if you heard him to say that, all right? That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a process because I don't believe fairy dust is easily transferable from human to human. I think you think other people are giving you fairy dust. What you've actually done is given yourself fairy dust and blamed it on the people around you.
Well, I feel
and that's a great news, right? This is great news because the thing is, there are all these people, the folks who are watching, who you've never met those people. And there are books you haven't read, and they're all available.
Yeah.
But if you're not ready to go get it, it's not going to work, right? So my point is, we have to seek it out. We have to say, I'm ready. Herschel Gordon Lewis just died a couple weeks ago. He invented the modern gory slasher movie. Then he stopped doing that and was one of the great copywriters of all time. Go figure. And he wrote books about how to do direct marketing, copywriting. Well, his book was there 4 years before I read it. But the day I read it and was ready to learn from it, it changed the way I could write. Well, actually, that's not true. I changed the way I could write based on what I consumed. So what I'm getting at here is, it starts with this checkup from the neck up, as they used to say. Deciding that you want to be a warrior in the service of the change you are making, which means that you're willing to put the fear in a little box, you're willing to put the ego in a little box and carry it with you because you can't get rid of it. But that decision, I can't force it on you. No one can force it on you. What you can do is surround yourself with people who expect that of you, because we want to meet those people's expectations. So this is the problem with reality TV. It's the problem with cable news, is we are surrounded by media that expects us to go buy a Kardashian purse or to go, titillate about the latest titillation, as opposed to surrounding ourselves with people who expect us to do difficult and generous work. Yeah. That choice is something you can choose to do right now.
So let's go back to the advice to the 20-year-old.
Okay.
Because I would like a straight answer. Give me something tactical. I'm not asking for a roadmap.
Right.
but just maybe some nuggets, because I really do feel, again, my biggest regret is that I didn't hear and implement some of this advice earlier in my life. And I appreciate you saying, the thing about the fairy dust. But I do feel like that advice has been invaluable to me, only because I've tried to implement it, right? I've tried things that might not work. I've tried to do work that matters. I've tried to, not fly too close to the sun or too close to the ocean. I've tried all these things, and I've seen great results.
Right.
So maybe give us another couple nuggets here before we close.
Well, there's a note that just flashed by about a guy who lost his job that got exported to another country. And, think about the radiologist who's now discovering after all those years that a computer can read x-rays better than he can. That most jobs, if we can write down what we need you to do, we can find someone cheaper than you, and it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you were in charge, you'd do the same thing.
Right.
right? And so the challenge is, how do we do something that can't be written down? And that's what I say to a 20-year-old today is, guess what? For 15 years, everyone was lying to you. And they said to you, you need a good grade on your SATs and you need good grades at school. No one cares.
Right.
We don't care. Zero. Guess what? There are countries around the world bigger than the United States where half the people your age have better grades than you because there's so many people,
Yeah.
right? So that's not going to win. What's going to win is for you to have a conversation with yourself to realize, one, you're going to live for 100 more years. Two, it's all going to turn out one way or another. It just keeps unfolding. And three, the thing that you are so petrified of today, that you are so filled with shame about today, you're not even going to remember what it is 2 months from now. No recollection that it was even present. That you have erected this force field around yourself, thinking you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
But the economy just changed, and you're not only not protecting yourself, you're hurting yourself. We need to strip away that force field and expose ourselves to these other things. And the way we do it, and this is the part that where a lot of people in the entrepreneurial world differ from me, so I'll be really clear here. We do it by being more generous. That we don't say, I can be generous and get something back in return, right?
That's a transaction.
Right. So Zig used to say, you can get everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And my version of it is, what an opportunity to help other people get what they want, period.
So quid
Period.
pro quo, no.
Just quid, no quo, or not just quo, no quid. I don't know which one it is. The point is that in a connection economy, it's a privilege to be connected. It's a privilege to be generous.
Right.
Figure out how to do that. Figure out how to do it more. Figure out how to do it more. Figure out how to keep doing it. Because I have never once met someone who did that who was also in financial trouble.
Yeah, I mean that's the irony, right? It's counterintuitive to give, but like it's that old kind of spiritual thought or philosophy that as you lose yourself, you find yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
But let's also be clear. I'm not saying give away what you make.
Right.
I'm not saying everything you make is free. I'm not saying every event you run is free. This is not about lowering your price. This is about bringing that magic you have inside you to more people more heartedly, right? More open-heartedly. That when we start doing that, the money part isn't what it's about almost ever.
Right.
Right? That when people go to see Bruce Springsteen and pay $300 to sit in the 40th row, they're not complaining about the price because something happened for those 3 hours. And the price isn't the point. The point is that Bruce didn't just show up and play a jukebox. Bruce showed up. And we've been told not to show up, but showing up is actually a great tool.
Well, let me highlight a couple of my personal favorites, and then I'll close here. One of the pieces of advice that stands out to me is when you told me, shockingly, that Yoda was wrong. that phrase from Star Wars,
Right.
do or do not, there is no try,
Right.
is false. Because
I believe that, yeah.
there is a try, and try is the opposite of hiding. That was like mind blown. I love that advice because up to that point, I was kind of, stuck in analysis paralysis. I was, always polishing and not shipping. I was afraid of lots of things. I was afraid of, what the critics might say or, all these different things. And
I'm still afraid of those things.
well, but that released me in lots of ways. It freed me up to actually reframe the way I think. And that is, do we want to live in a world where we're not allowed to make mistakes?
Right.
I mean, that's not reality anyway, but like that's sometimes the reality that other people put on us. Like, don't screw up, don't even try because you're going to get punished and all that. But the reality is we try and make mistakes. We do stuff that doesn't work all the time.
Right, but let's be really clear about what kind of mistakes,
Yeah.
right? The pilot who makes a sloppy mistake doesn't get to make any more mistakes.
Right.
The customer service rep who, in trying to connect to somebody by being thoughtful and open, ends up saying the wrong thing, that's a totally different kind of mistake.
Right.
And those kinds of mistakes we need more of. We need more mistakes in the service of service.
Right, right. Yeah, because you also told me, and we're looking at Poke the Box here, that the idea with, as the engineer or the person who's trying stuff continues to try, eventually they figure it out. So you said the person who fails is the person who doesn't try or fails too far that they can't come back to fight another day.
Right.
And that's the true
The
failure.
goal is to fail the most.
Yeah.
So I've failed more than any person listening to this, and I'm proud of it. And part of the secret of failing more often is you need to make it so that your failures aren't fatal. Pilots shouldn't make those kinds of failures,
Yeah.
but most of us aren't pilots. The idea that you live in a project universe where in the service of what you seek to do, you will fail with some of your projects, that's what we signed up for. And we shouldn't deny that it's happening. We should embrace that it's happening because that's what we signed up for.
Yeah. The other thing, lastly, here is there's just these little nuggets that are so precious to me. You said the riskiest thing we can do is play it safe.
For sure.
And then you also told me, Brian, Prince Charming is not coming. And that, you really need to quit waiting to get picked. You need to pick yourself. And that statement, pick yourself, although several other people who I respect have also echoed that same sentiment, has been probably the single most important thing that I've ever done. And it's been transformative. It's been amazing.
And you've transformed other people because you did it. So that's worth everything.